Welcome to the Art of Precision on Gillette World Sport. Coming up today, we're on the slopes with Canada's Winter Olympic hopefuls. Braving Austria's whitewater rapids at the Extreme Kayak World Championship. And discovering how genetics can inform training.
If you're not the average, we need to know so we can deviate from the average advice and create a more personalized plan.
First on Gillette World Sport, we're on the road to Pyeongchang, looking forward to the 2018 Winter Olympics with two of Canada's biggest medal hopefuls.
I'm going to Pyeongchang next year. That was my goal this season, to qualify for the Olympics. It was pretty challenging because on the Canadian team, we are 7 really good Canadians. So the battle is pretty hard. I just really wanted to secure my spot. I went to Sochi 4 years ago, got 5th place over there, so I'll be looking forward to improve into this next Olympics.
There was so much pressure on me going into the Sochi Olympics. And then at the X Games, I broke my rib. The Canadian doctor saw me and he was like, you can go and try and ride because you're not gonna hurt yourself. You're just gonna be in a crazy amount of pain. So that's all I needed, you know, like I'm a pretty motivated person, so I was like, hell yeah, I'm going. And then it just started to get better, and like that intensity of the Olympics and the hype, I was like, I got it, like, and I was literally grunting, like, cause you know, a broken rib, it's like, you can do stuff, but it's just not comfortable. And with that being said, a lot of the pressure was taken off, you know, I was the guy with the broken rib, how's he gonna do good, you know? Then I landed a run that had never been done in slopestyle and I had never done. So like going to the Olympics and getting a bronze medal for Canada with breaking my rib 10 days before and doing what I wanted was like a dream come true.
McMorris returned to the same rehabilitation specialist earlier this year after suffering serious injuries in a snowboarding accident. Now recovering and back on the snow, he and Parrot are considered strong medal contenders for 2018, with big air now included in the Olympic program alongside slopestyle. Supporting their journey alongside other Canadian Olympians is the country's national team program, which provides the athletes with the necessary support to maximize their success.
With the Canadian national team, what we've worked towards is helping support those guys in a role that they've already established themselves in. So providing extra support, like such as physio, technical coaching, extra video, stuff like that. Our biggest thing is trying to find the recovery time because there is so many events. You're pretty much back to back to back to back all season long. It's really hard for them to get into the gym, keep working out, and maintain a high level of riding. I'm the main filmer for most of the team, but a lot of the guys have their own personal filmers. To review the footage, look at it again, is very critical in seeing what those guys are doing and what they need to improve on.
I do my own thing when it comes down to snowboarding, but it's really nice to have those coaches around into the contest because they're there. If you need anything, they will be there to support you, and I think it's really important.
We let these guys just really think about snowboarding, and we try and take away all the distractions outside of that bubble, because that's when they progress the most, when they're having fun and just snowboarding.
I think we're really lucky because in our sport, we get a lot of contests with big coverage. At Sochi Olympics, it was the same thing, same experience, so it should be the same in Pyeongchang next year. We're used to this pressure, we're used to these cameras and all that kind of stuff. So Olympics for us, it's pretty similar to X Games. For sure, it's way bigger because there's way much more millions of people watching this contest. But the feeling of being over there is pretty similar to X Games.
Something that's very vital in my success in competition is my mental strength under pressure. Every guy can do all these tricks, but when you have to do it when it matters and when there's pressure on, It's a total different game. I thrive off of it. And I also care so much, and that's why I'm so nervous, you know, because I really, really want to land and do well, and I get super discouraged and bummed when I don't do well in competition. That's just me. I'm competitive and I care.
My preparation leading to the Olympics will not change. Maybe less contest, so I can get a little bit more rest, so I don't come to the Olympics tired. But otherwise, I will keep on to the same routine. It's been really successful over the past years, and I think it will lead into more successful years.
Next, we're in OTZTAL Valley in the Austrian Tyrol at the Adidas Sickline Extreme Kayak World Championship.
The Velebrucker Rapids in OTZTAL, Austria once again provided a challenging location for the Extreme Kayak World Championship. For the 10th anniversary edition of the event, 175 of the world's best kayakers from 33 different countries gathered to find the best or sickest line on the whitewater racecourse. High water levels provided incredibly fast times in an exciting series of knockout rounds, so the battle for the prestigious Sickline belt in the final was promising to be a close one. 16 kayakers navigated the world-class stretch of water in the final round, with all times coming in below 1 minute. Last year's champion, Aniol Sarasolses from Spain, had his work cut out if he was to defend his title.
Aniol looking really fast as he takes the central line on the first cataract. Aniol has had a huge year this year, flying off 100-foot waterfalls, competing in events, completing multi-day expeditions, and now charging into the TNT Cataract in an attempt to defend his World Championship belt. Looking really smooth so far. Nice line through the Champions Killer -1. Another fast line through the Champions Killer. Aniol's time is looking pretty fast here. Gets through the exit slot nice and clean, doesn't clip any of the rocks there. Ooh, and that is a very fast time for Aniol, 55.17 seconds.
31-year-old Alexander Grimm from Germany came close to challenging the leading time, but the real competition came from three-time champion Sam Sutton. He lost out on victory last year by only 1/100th of a second, so the Kiwi had unfinished business.
And we'll see if the Kiwi can add a 4th championship title to his impressive kayaking resume. Sam laid down a really fast time in the semi-final, qualified in 3rd position. Looking pretty smooth in the TNT Cataract, the crowd going crazy. Nice line through the main hole. Pushed a little far left on the Champions Killer -1, but managed to correct it. Sam is an absolute beast when it comes to this event. Looking really smooth through the Champions Killer. His time's looking pretty fast. He'll be looking to really power across that line. Is it going to be fast enough? Yes, it is! Sam Sutton of New Zealand crosses the line in a time of 54.89 seconds.
Neither Hannes Eigner nor Dane Jackson, who went after him, had faster runs, so the 54.89 seconds Sutton clocked at the finish line was fast enough to reclaim the title, pushing Sarasolses to 2nd and Grimm to 3rd. With his 4th championship win, the New Zealander's achievement will go down in extreme kayaking history.
Now we switch our precision focus to an exploration of how genetic analysis can play its part in improving athletic performance. The field of sports science is continually evolving as athletes search for new ways to better understand their bodies. One of the newest innovations involves using a DNA test to create bespoke training plans based on an individual's response to different exercise and diet factors.
My name is Steele. I'm one of the founding team and head of product here at DNA Fit, and I was also an Olympic athlete running the 400 metres for Great Britain. So taking a DNA test it's really very simple actually. It's a cotton saliva swab, and that's just rubbed on the inside of the cheek. It's sent off to our laboratory in the UK, and it takes us about 10 days to analyse the genetic variants we need to create the report. On the exercise and training side, we're looking at training intensity response, injury predisposition, recovery speed, how trainable an athlete's VO2 max is, and then nutrition-wise, we're looking at individual response to carbohydrates, to fats, to certain micronutrients and vitamins, and then we add that into the picture, especially in a professional sporting context, of all the other sports science metrics and physiology data we take into account to just create better personalised planning, whether you're looking at a team or an individual athlete.
DNA analysis has already been used by athletes such as Olympic gold medalist Greg Rutherford and the Egyptian national football team. Earlier this year, Rugby World Cup winner and South Africa's record try scorer Brian Habana became the first to publicly release the results of his test.
I think if one looks at genetic testing overall, I think it's more about getting to know yourself a bit better. For me, obviously there was a lot that was known and sort of over the years that you'd come to understand, but I think one of the big things that stood out for me was in terms of my power compared to my endurance, where I probably feel that I've got fast twitch muscle fibers, so I perform better when exercising at short intervals but at maximum power. But that endurance is actually one of my strong points, or something I hadn't realized. It's easy to get to know your body over a very long time, but with genetic testing, you can find out exact details about how your body performs under certain circumstances. So that's very exciting. As a professional athlete, and especially a rugby player, you've got 10 to 15 years to maximize your potential of playing the best you can possibly play and making sure your body is in as good a condition to go forwards.
In the first half of my career, I trained in a certain way that was somewhat unorthodox at the top level. I did a lot of mileage for a 400-metre run, and actually was quite successful for me. I reached the Beijing Olympic Games, ran under 45 seconds. Then after that, I made a training change to sort of train a bit more like everybody else did at the top end, which was primarily a sprint-based program. And the truth is, it didn't work for me. I spent 4 years doing that in the run-up to the London 2012 Games. I didn't make the team. I actually got worse over those 4 years. Too late in the process, I actually learned a number of really interesting genetic factors. One of them being there's a gene called the ACTN3 gene, and there's a certain version of this gene which basically every Olympic sprinter that's ever been genotyped has, and I didn't have it. And that gene plays a role in response to sprint training, in response to resistance training, and I didn't have that, so I was the absolute anomaly when it came to that gene. And so therefore my training needed to take that into account, and it didn't. So everything about genetics is saying, well, the average advice is fine if you're the average. If you're not the average, we need to know so we can deviate from the average advice and create a more personalised plan.
Coming towards the end of my career, there's probably not a lot that has changed, but it's about understanding how I could possibly have trained a bit better early on in my career, in terms of understanding that you can push yourself a little bit more in terms of your endurance training. And I think for rugby especially, there's a lot more scientific knowledge coming towards the game and improving yourself as an individual, but also then collectively as a team. We want to collect 1,000 professional rugby player samples leading up to the Japan 2019 World Cup. The reason for doing it is to understand rugby from a DNA analysis point of view a lot better, and in that way be able to put training plans into place for position-specific areas. So whether you're a tight five, a loose forward, a backline player, whether your power endurance ratio leads more towards endurance or leads more towards power, that you can maximize that potential from a truly scientific point of view to be able to not only excel but perform at the highest level for a very long time.
Still to come, the Red Bull Air Race takes off in Indianapolis. And top seed Rafa Nadal chases a tour-leading 7th title in Shanghai. Welcome back to Gillette World Sport. Coming up, we're serving up the tennis action from the Shanghai Masters and taking to the skies at the Red Bull Air Race. Now we're in China for the best of the tennis action from the Shanghai ROLEX Masters.
As the ATP World Tour touched down in China for the 9th edition of the Shanghai Rolex Masters, world number 1 Rafa Nadal and longtime rival Roger Federer were the top 2 seeds in the tournament for the first time. Played under the roof due to wet weather conditions, Nadal faced 4th seed Marin Cilic in the semis, looking strong as he chased his 7th title of the season.
It's a 16th straight win for the world number 1, who's into a 10th final of this remarkable season.
His opponent would be either 2014 champion Federer or Argentina's Juan Martín del Potro. After a tense start, the semi-final saw Federer fight back from a set down and advance to the 143rd final of his career. This would be the 38th matchup for the two rivals and their 4th meeting this season.
And there it is. The opening blow is landed by Roger Federer.
Federer continued to have the upper hand in the early games. Nadal seemed very much on the back foot, and the first set was soon on Federer's racket.
Roger Federer takes the opening set against his great rival.
The start of the second set was a closer affair, but Game 5 saw the Swiss applying some pressure.
He's put Nadal on the back foot, and the Spaniard had no way of turning this around. Stunning volley.
Nadal had survived one break point, but Federer remained determined.
It's an error from the Spaniard.
There was just no stopping a composed Federer, and a second Shanghai title was within reach.
Roger Federer is the Shanghai Rolex Masters champion for a second time and wins title number 94 of his glorious career.
Time now to look at the videos making the social headlines. Before his win in Shanghai, Roger Federer dropped in on the Golden State Warriors as the NBA champions completed their preseason tour of China. Former Germany striker Lucas Podolski got up close with the Japanese MotoGP, which was won by Andrea Dovizioso. Shaun White was working things out on the snow as he aims to return to the podium at next year's Winter Olympics. Wakeboarder Steele Lafferty was on dry land executing this golf trick shot. This Paris restaurant received some unusual help in the kitchen from Chelsea defender David Luiz. Baltimore Ravens shared this clip showing how rookie running back Alex Collins uses Irish dancing to improve his footwork. Also showing fast feet were the students of Juan Guzman as the former boxing world champion put a new generation through their paces. Skimboard world champion Austin Keane showed agility in the air to almost pull off this flip. And finally, Lionel Messi led the celebrations after his hat trick booked Argentina's place at the World Cup, while there was also joy for Panama as they qualified for the finals for the very first time. Finally this week, it's all about speed and precision at the final of this year's Red Bull Air Race World Championship.
After a debut at the venue in 2016, the Red Bull Air Race returned to a blustery Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the USA for its final stop of the 2017 season. The finale was a tense affair from the off, with Martin Schonker and Yoshi Miroya ranked 1 and 2 in the standings, stumbling and incurring penalties in the heats. With a large number of the field also suffering in gusty conditions, both advanced to a nail-biting Final Four. Miroya was first to fly with everything on the line.
So far, so good, I'd say, Paul, for Yoshi Miroya in lap 1.
Very low in 5 there, gate 5, and a little correction before gate 4. Very aggressive there with the VTM, very tight lines, but level beautifully before that descent gate. Here's the all-important gate, which he magnificently flies through as he comes through the chicane for the second time. Quite wide of those chicane gates, but that's safe. And here, let's have a look at this. Oh, look, massive correction there between those two short gates, and a very aggressive turn towards this descent. He's going to have very little time to get level here, but he manages it beautifully.
He's pushing as hard as he can. Now, coming out of lap 2, watch this gate 16. Oh, Miroya just misses a pylon hit, but now the Japanese ace is heading home, full throttle. This is for the World Championship of 2017. Keep an eye on the clock. Miroya, my oh my, 103.
This was a new track record which neither 2016 world champion Matthias Dolderer of Germany or Spain's Juan Velarde could match. The pressure all fell on Schonker, the last to fly. To snatch the overall title from Miroya, he needed to win or come second.
He's got to stay clean here, hasn't he? He's really got to be disciplined and go back to what I said earlier. Aggressive tactics, but precise flying.
Second position will give him the title. Third position will mean Japan will take it. We'll watch the split time very carefully. It's coming right now. He needs to be under 2.5. 2.8 is not good enough. That is not good enough. Right now, Schonker is in third position. He needs to find time.
Where has that time gone? I think the VTM was fairly big, but he's really got to get a move on here. That second VTM was critical. I think there's something wrong with his engine. This can't just be flying.
3.871. He's now down in fourth position. Watch the clock carefully. Yoshi Miroya is the world champion.
Miroya took the race win, which also secured the first ever Red Bull Air Race World Championship for him and for Japan.